guys, welcome to Bachelor. My name is Joker with a face for radio and a voice for print. Well, Illinois and Chicago officially start the Purge, which I don't know if you've ever seen that movie. That's basically when the criminals are allowed to run free and clean up the streets and get revenge and get rid of all the people. Well, it started officially on September 18th, which is just a couple days ago. If you're not familiar, here's a report from the Organic Prepper. Soon these crimes won't require bail in Illinois, which means you get arrested, you don't have to come up with bail, and they just turn around and release you. Now listen to these lists. Ready? Part of this bill, the Pretrial Fairness Act, will do away with bail. As many people who are arrested can't afford it. So basically it's, hey, you're a criminal. We're not going to hold you in jail until you've had your day in court, and we'll decide if we're going to set you free or not. But, previously, at least here in the United States, I don't know how other countries do it. You get arrested. If they think that you've done it, they toss you in jail. Then you can raise bail or get a bondsman to give you a bond. I don't know exactly how it works, but then you pay them and they let you out of jail. And I don't think you get that money back, to be honest with you. And so, yes, if you're wrongly tossed in jail, then that's problematic. But what if you're tossed in jail and you should be in jail? Well, a lot of times they'll say without bail or without bond, and you're stuck. Well, they're getting rid of that. Listen to these crimes. And I did a story on this probably about a year or two ago when they started talking about it. It's officially done. Like, it's started. And already they're starting to have problems. So grab your popcorn, because Chicago's going to become even more murdererier. More. Our country is so stupid. Aggravated battery, aggravated DUI, aggravated fleeing and eluding, arson, burglary, drug-induced ending somebody, intimidation, kidnapping, robbery, second-degree ending someone else from being on this planet, threatening a public official, and nearly all drug offenses. So what's this look like? Somebody can break into your home. That would be burglary. And it doesn't say whether it's armed or not, but they could break in, rob you, light your house on fire, and then take your kid from you, and then end somebody on the way out the building, and they might be released. I wish I was kidding about this stuff. That's the other part of the story I'll get to in a second here. Let me read this portion of it. Here's a great example. Illinois woman charged with attacking cops, Chicago police officers, released on no cash bail thanks to the new state law. A woman accused of attacking 4 officers, sending 2 of them to the hospital. She was arrested. They took her downtown, and they released her. She looks like an upstanding, moral person. I thought women don't do crime. It's mostly men, isn't it? Reports on the very first day of no cash bail, a violent offender arrested for attacking 4 Chicago police officers, sending 2 of them to the hospital, was immediately released because the Cook County State's Attorney's Office didn't even bother to file a motion to seek detaining the accused are problematic. Okay, that's a weird sentence. Okay, anyway, they didn't hold her. They just were like, okay, have a good day, and let them go. Please show up to court in 9 months. Thank you, and please. Illinois State Senator John Curran said this statement to Fox Chicago. This highlights the misplaced priorities of Illinois criminal justice system when the prosecutor prioritized the freedom of a violent offender over the safety of those police officers. ACAB, like screw the cops, right? But what if it had been a normal citizen? Well, same thing. Well, I'll tell you right now, if someone will attack cops, they're going to attack your everyday citizen. So I'm sure by now she's probably mugged or robbed a few more people. They said they couldn't comment on Aguiar's case. Under the new law, a judge can hold someone in jail if they're believed to pose a risk to the community. If they don't pose a danger or flight risk, they are released without having post-cash bail. But we've seen this in New York. We've seen it in a couple other places where they are a risk. There was one in New York where a dude either attempted to or ended somebody else, and within a month or 2, he was back on the street. And guess what he did after that? That is correct. He ended somebody else. The reason why I read you guys these news stories is because as we as we see things collapse around us, where you live, the laws that are in your area, things that you have to know. You have to know. So that way, because here's what's going to happen in Illinois and especially Chicago and other places. Cops are going to, number one, if a cop does anything wrong, he's going to be called out by the wokesters. He's going to be under an immense amount of pressure. And so he's got to get everything perfect, which also means he might be too slow and react, and it might be a danger to himself. Then he poses risk, arrests the person, takes him in, does the paperwork, and then they're released within, who knows, a couple of hours, 12 hours, and they're back on the street. And the cop has to do it again and again and again. And eventually they're going to say, you know what, this isn't worth it. And they're going to leave. And what happens when the cops leave? Crime goes up. What happens when the crime starts going up? Normal, everyday, average citizens start to leave. And they go to new areas and vote for the same people that made this stupid law in the first place. But here's something else, that if you see somebody in trouble and you go and you say, you know something, I'm going to help this person. I know I probably shouldn't, might get me in trouble, but I'm going to go help this person. If they get your license plate or they see who you are, they could be out in a matter of a couple of hours coming to look for you. Like, this is crazy. It is literally like the movie Purge. And they say her next court date is scheduled for September 25th of this year? Maybe. What happens if she doesn't show up? What happens if she decides to hurt somebody else? And how bad is Chicago going? Listen to this, right? So because of these criminals that are going in and robbing businesses blind and going into grocery stores and just taking food and going into whatever stores and just taking whatever they want, and the cops say, well, we'll arrest them, but then we take them to jail, they write something up, and then you just dump them on the street. I'm not going to bother anymore. So what happens? In Chicago, grocery stores and other places started closing down. And then the citizens complained, hey, all these places are closing down. And the politicians say, oh, you evil corporations for wanting to keep your employees safe and for not wanting to give away all your stuff for free and just charging the paying citizens more. How dare you? And so what are they doing? Chicago is going full socialist. Now, this guy right here, he is a socialist. He ran as a socialist. This is a socialist man. Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson. And what has he decided to do because the crime is so crazy that all the grocery stores are leaving? Chicago Mayor proposes a city-owned grocery store as Walmart, Whole Foods exits and leave food deserts. So the crime is so rampant that the businesses says, we're out. So what's going to happen? The Chicago mayor says, we're going to make our own grocery store. Yes, that's how socialism starts. And then what's going to happen when they keep letting people steal and they can't afford it? They'll take the taxpayers' money and subsidize the thieves, because they'll take the taxpayers' money to go buy the groceries. They'll put it in the store. The thieves come and steal it. And then so then what'll happen is maybe then the city will decide to lock down on these criminals, and then they'll be called all the bad names. Or it'll be horribly mismanaged, because I don't know about you, but probably not very many government officials know much about running a business, because most of them are worthless. And that all goes to hell. They say Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson said he wants to open city-owned grocery stores to serve neighborhoods that have become food deserts after 4 Walmart stores and a Whole Foods closed. Look, man, if you're too rough for even Walmart to be around, you got some problems. 4 Walmarts are done. Johnson announced last week that his administration would partner with a nonprofit advocacy group, Economic Security Project. Oh, that sounds great. To put stores in underserved areas. No, they're not underserved. You chase them away. A proposal Republicans call something out of Soviet-style central planning. It really is. 4 other Chicago Walmarts are still open, which the chain said in a statement continue to face the same business difficulties, but we think this decision gives us the best chance to help keep them open and serve the community. So what Walmart's hoping now is, well, okay, Let's hope everybody steals from the government store that's down in the areas that we already left, and maybe we'll keep these stores open this way, and maybe they'll leave us alone. That's going to turn out great. When the Post reached out to Walmart for comment, the company spokesperson pointed to the April press release, which said that collectively our Chicago stores have not been profitable since we opened the very first one nearly 17 years ago. Can you imagine an entire store not being profitable? So they kept them open, subsidizing it by when you go down to your Walmart store, the price is probably a couple pennies higher, maybe $1 higher on a bigger ticket item, so that they can afford to not only the CEOs to pocket absurd amounts of cash and not only to pay their workers far less than they're worth, but also to make sure that they can cover all the people stealing from them. Last November, Whole Foods closed Englewood after 6 years in the Southside lot, 1 year before Whole Foods' 7-year lease was up with its landlord. So they noped out early. The location boasted very affordable prices for the grocer's infamously overpriced organic goods. So what did they do? They dropped the price down so hopefully people wouldn't sell. They raised the prices in all the other stores to overcome it, and even that didn't save them. However, as the years went on, items at the Englewood Whole Foods became too expensive for the neighborhood residents, and then they just started robbing things. So what does this all mean? It means that Illinois is done. Illinois is over. I mean, and here's the thing. What do politicians are raving narcissistic lunatics. All of them are to some degree or another. What happens when a narcissist is wrong? How often do they say, you know something? We totally got this wrong. I was wrong about this. And then they never do, or very rarely do. As a matter of fact, ironically, in Los Angeles, I was just watching, they were having some sort of a meeting on defunding the police, and the Democrats blamed the Republicans for doing it. So instead of saying, yes, we pushed this for a few years and we were wrong about it, they say, well, we were wrong about it, but it wasn't us that pushed this through. It was the Republicans. It's like, okay, good luck with that. Well, they're going to drag their feet in saying that they're wrong. And if they put cops and some bad things happen to somebody, it's no longer Walmart's fault. It's the city's fault. Well, they don't want that. So crime is going to continue to spike, but now it's not just stealing things under X amount of, it's arson, it's robbery and burglary and, ending somebody in the second degree. Like this is not good. This is not good. So grab your popcorn, kick back, relax, and watch the social experiment unfold, as it were, and pray that it doesn't keep expanding, because at this rate, it's going to be every major city in every state. Like Nashville's starting to have problems, Memphis here in Tennessee, and like Tennessee is a very conservative state, but Nashville's starting to have problems with stuff. Memphis is the armpit of the country as far as I'm concerned. They're horrible. They've gone full Democrat crazy. And it's the thing is, a lot of people say, "Oh, this I didn't tune in to find out about politics. Like keep this politic free." Well, here's an example of how politics affect you. If you're in these cities, it's dangerous for you. Somebody can do a crime, and even if you don't go out of your way to help anybody and you're just kind of minding your own business, criminals will be on the loose. And guess what happens when criminals are on the loose? They become emboldened. And you know what citizens do that decide they don't want to pay for things? They become criminals. And you're going to get the worst of the worst of the worst elements, and everybody that's left is going to be the bad ones, because the good ones say, that's it, I'm out. Like, I'm out. They're going to pull a Walmart, and they're going to sell their stuff and get out of there. This does not end well. So as much as you guys kind of, rash on me for talking about politics, many of you in other parts of the world said, well, we don't have the same political parties, and this doesn't affect us. Go look at France and in Paris right now. Go look at Malmö, Sweden. Go look at various areas in Germany. Go look at in England. I mean, I've seen some stuff in the UK that's crazy. I don't know how it is down in Australia. Your own government in Australia and Canada are your worst enemies. Tell me this doesn't get worse. Tell me these politics don't somehow affect you. Of course they do. And so you kind of have to stay on top of this stuff, because eventually maybe voting doesn't work anymore. And then what do you do? You know, the other video I was going to put out tonight, I don't think I'm going to do it. Maybe I'll save it for tomorrow. The other video I was going to talk about tonight is what happens if we lose? What happens if the crazies win and we're silenced and we lose our rights? And what is that going to do to men, like normal, average, everyday, strong men? I don't know. I don't want to think about it. Not tonight, at least. Maybe I'll tackle that one tomorrow. Guys, don't forget, I've got a membership supporter drive over on betterbachelor.locals.com. It's like $3.20 a month if you come support me for a year. It's like $38. Covers for a full year. You get to watch football with me on Sundays, and you get to watch movie night with me on Saturday night. Great forums, great group of guys, like-minded individuals, much like yourselves. And we're talking about all sorts of stuff over there. So I hope you come over and join us today, and I'll see you in the next one.